Hi there, I'm Allison. I'm a CRNA student and I'm going to be assessing your musculoskeletal system today. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. First, we will start with the assessment of your fingers. Going to assess. They're looking nice and symmetric. We're going to then palpate the metacarpal phalangeal joint, noting any tenderness, swelling, any nodules. We'll move over to the proximal interphalangeal joint, not noting any deformities, and then the distal interphalangeal joint. Next, we will assess range of motion. If you could extend your fingers out nice and wide and then tighten your hands into a nice tight fist. Beautiful. Then we'll test opposition. If you could put your hands up and show me a number 4. Beautiful. We'll then test strength. If you could squeeze my hands as tight as you can. Beautiful. +5 strengths equal bilaterally. Next, we'll move to the wrists. Going to assess no musculoskeletal deformities. There is a little skin cut, but it's looking okay. We're going to palpate the dorsal and volar surfaces, as well as the metacarpal joint on both hands, not noting any tenderness, swelling, nodules. Next, we will assess range of motion. If you could kind of hold your elbows nice and tight in, and then testing extension by bringing your knuckles up towards your chest and then bringing your fingers all the way down for flexion, and then relaxing your hands out, and then testing for ulnar deviation by kind of pulling your pinkies outwards and then your thumbs inward. Beautiful. And then we will test your strength. If you could bring your hands up towards your chest and then push down against me. Beautiful. Strengths are equal, +5 bilaterally. We will move on to the elbows. First, inspecting them, no obvious deformities. We will palpate those epicondyles and the olecranon bursa, and the epicondyles and olecranon on this side. They're equal, no swelling, nodules, or tenderness noted. Then we will assess range of motion. If you could put your arms down by your side and then bring your hands up to your shoulders with flexion and then extending them all the way out. Beautiful. And then if you could bring your elbows to a 90-degree angle, 90 degree at your side, sorry. And then if you could rotate your palms to face the floor for pronation and back up to the sky for supination. And then you could flex your arms against my resistance and then extend against. Awesome. We've got equal strength bilaterally. Next, we'll move on to shoulders. First, inspecting the shoulder. Having a hospital gown or something would make this easier. Then we will palpate first the sternoclavicular joint and then the acromioclavicular joint. No deformities, nodules, tenderness, swelling noted. Next, we will assess range of motion. If you could put your arms down by your side and then bring them up forward and up over your head for flexion, and then bring them down and extend behind you, extension. Bring them to your side, bring them over your head but from the side for abduction, and then back down and then cross over in front of you for adduction. Beautiful. And then bring your shoulders up in goalpost fashion. And then for internal rotation, bring your palms down behind you, and then external rotation, bringing them back up. While you're in this position, I will assess your strength. If you could resist my force and then resist this way. Beautiful. We've got +5 strength equal bilaterally. Next, we'll do your hips. If you could go ahead and stand up. Okay. So first we'll do active range of motion. If you could, I'll help hold. If you need some balance, we're going to kind of shift our weight onto one foot. First, flexing your hip by bringing your foot in front of you and extending it behind you. Beautiful. Then we're going to abduct by bringing it out to the side and adduct across that midline. And then we will do internal and external rotation by bringing your knee up, and then externally rotating the knee out and internally rotating it in. And then we'll just do that on the other side. So putting your weight, bringing your foot out, extending it back, then abduction out, adduction all the way back in and across, and then knee up, externally rotating it, and then internal rotation. Beautiful. We'll do strength while we're here. If you could, you can kind of put your hand on my back if needed, flex your hip against my hand, and then extend backwards. Beautiful. And then on this side, and then this way. Beautiful. We have +5 strength bilaterally. Next, we'll do passive range of motion and the rest of the inspection. If you could go ahead and lay down on the couch. First on the side, again, this would be very helpful if he had a gown on. We're inspecting the hip, going to palpate that greater trochanter. We're going to do passive range of motion by flexing and extending the leg. And then if you could roll on your back, we will do more passive range of motion, adduction, abduction, adduction, then knee flexion, external rotation, internal rotation, and then passive knee extension, passive knee flexion, external rotation, internal rotation, and passive extension, then abduction and adduction. While he's laying down, I'm going to inspect his knees. They're looking nice and symmetric. I'm going to palpate the tibiofemoral joint. And then you're going to be nice and relaxed. And I'm going to assess for patellar motion. Looking good. Awesome. And then if you could roll to your other side, we're just going to finish that assessment of your hip. Inspecting, palpating that greater trochanter, feeling nice and symmetric. No tenderness or swelling, nodules, anything like that. Okay, and then we will do flexion and extension. Beautiful. If you could go ahead and sit on the edge of the couch, we'll work through the rest of the lower extremities. First, could you extend your leg out, straighten it, and then flex it back in, and then do it again on this side and bring it back. And then we'll do strength testing. Can you kick out and pull back, nice and strong, and then this side, and flex back. We've got equal strength. Next, we'll do the ankles. I'm going to assess, looking nice and symmetric, doing the malleoli tendons, and then assessing the Achilles tendon and bursa. No deformities or irregularities noted. Then could you extend your legs out just a little bit? Okay, we'll test range of motion. Can you bring your feet up towards your shins? Beautiful, and the other one, and then put them down and kind of press your heels up. Beautiful, plantar flexion looks great. And then if you could external or eversion and kind of rotate your feet out and then bring them back in. Beautiful. And then we'll do strength. If you could pull your feet up against my resistance and push down like you're driving. Beautiful. Next, we'll do your toes. First assessing from a musculoskeletal stance. They look nice and symmetric. We will assess the metatarsal phalangeal joint. And then the proximal and distal interphalangeal joints on the toes. No deformities or irregularities noted. And then could you kind of splay your toes out wide and then kind of curl them in for flexion? Beautiful. We will finish with your spine assessment. Okay, so first, if you could turn, we will assess from the posterior, spine's looking nice and straight, lungs look even from the back, and then the lateral assessment, no exaggerated kyphosis or lordosis noted. Then we will palpate the extensor muscles all the way to the sacrum, and then the spinous processes. Beautiful. And then we will do the CV or costovertebral angle for those kidneys. Beautiful. No tenderness there. We will assess your spinal or your cervical spine. If you could look straight forward, bring your chin down, and then look all the way up to the ceiling, extension. Look straight forward, bring your ear to your shoulder on this side, and then do it on the other side. Beautiful. And then if you could keep your shoulders still and look over at me, and then look all the way at the other side, left side. Awesome. We've got full range of motion in that cervical spine. We'll finish up with the lumbar. So kind of pull, would open up a gown again, and then we're going to have him flex forward and touch his toes as much as comfortable. While he does this, we'll do a scoliosis assessment. His scapula appear to be nice and even. There's no variation, and the spine remains in a nice straight line. So that looks great. You can go ahead and stand up. We will go ahead and do extension. If you could, I've got your low back. If you just want to lean back a little bit, beautiful. And then we will finish up. If you could kind of drop this shoulder down, beautiful. Lateral flexion, and then the other side. And then we will finish up by, I will hold your hips. If you could rotate all the way to the right, and then rotate all the way to the left. Awesome, we've got full range of motion in that lumbar spine. Thank you so much, and have a good day.